Snow ticked softly against the cabin windows as she sat alone at the hearth, stirring dying embers back to life. Her wool shawl hugged her shoulders, stitched by the same hands she buried 2 winters ago. The wind howled along the eaves, the kind of wind that used to carry his voice when he rode home late. Tonight, something tugged her from her chair. She crossed to the old pine desk by lamplight, the desk where he scribbled trail tallies and half-finished thoughts. Its drawer stuck, same as it always had, until it gave way with a tired groan. Inside lay a folded paper, edges yellowed, sealed with wax she recognized. His. She held it as if fire might claim it. The hearth crackled behind her. Sparks leaped like memories she wasn't ready to name. Her heart thudded against her ribs. His voice rose again in her head, apologetic, distant, unmended. "I'll tell you one day." Her fingers trembled as she broke the seal. Words stared back, words meant for her eyes long before the grave. And as she read the first line, her knees nearly gave way. Because the message he left behind wasn't goodbye. It was a confession, a truth meant to ruin or rebuild her life. And she was about to learn which. The lamplight quivered as if startled by her discovery. Martha Hale, widow of 11 months, seamstress by necessity, keeper of chickens, fire, and silence, sat alone at the oak desk her husband had carved before their first winter. The wax seal cracked beneath her thumb, brittle like her patience. Her breath fogged faintly in the cold cabin air. She hadn't stoked the fire since morning. Winter demanded thrift. The letter unfolded stiffly, paper creased from years untouched. "My dearest Martha." She had not heard those words in his voice in almost a year. Her chest tightened. He had spoken them rarely in life. Her eyes traced the writing. Samuel's heavy script, ink faded. "If this finds you, then time has taken more than I dare to face." She gripped the desk edge. "I owe you truth I was too weak to give while I lived." Weak. Samuel had been many things, stubborn, distant, fair when life forced him. But weak? Never in her eyes. Outside, wind scraped bare branches along the roof. Somewhere beyond the ridge, wolves sang. Winter's choir. Martha read on. "I kept something from you, something I should have told you long ago. But you had already lost too much, and I feared breaking what little I gave you." The room swayed. She paused to stir the coals. Sparks rose, dying midair. Martha returned to the desk, heart tight. "If you were reading this, I pray the stranger I trusted has reached you by now. His name is Jonas Reed. He carries answers I could not bear to give." The name punched air from her lungs. Jonas Reed, a trader, a cattle broker, a man Samuel once owed or avoided. She never met him, yet Samuel muttered his name in sleep as if chased. The next lines were hurried, ink smudged. "He hold what I left undone. Follow him, Martha. You will curse me for it, but follow." Her hands trembled. "Forgive me if you can. If you cannot, then know this. Every year I waited was a year I feared you'd stop loving me." Wind rattled the shutters as though the land itself inhaled. Martha folded the letter slowly, fingers numb. "Coward," she whispered into the dim room. But her voice shook. Samuel had died on the cattle drive. Horse through him during a flash storm. They said he broke his neck instantly. She buried what remained in wooden earth, wept herself empty, and spoke to God of anger she never said aloud. A confession, a stranger who knows. Answers Samuel could not give. Martha tied her shawl tight. The hearth's glow dimmed, an ache mirrored in her bones. She stepped to the window. Frost painted the glass. Distant lights dotted the valley, lanterns from neighboring homesteads. The letter felt heavier than paper, heavier than grief. "Follow him." Samuel's voice echoed. "Where?" "Samuel," she murmured. "Where do you send me now?" A knock shattered the silence. Martha spun hard, leaping. 3 sharp raps. Insistent. Metallic. Her pulse hammered. Few came this late. None uninvited. She set the letter down, reached for Samuel's pistol above the mantel. Her hand steady though she prayed, she'd never need it. The door creaked open. A man stood silhouetted in the moonlit snow. Long coat, scarf frozen at edges, hat dusted white. "Evening, Mrs. Hale," he said. Martha's throat closed. "Who are you?" she demanded. He lifted his lantern, revealing a lined face, scar, tracing jawline. "Name's Jonas," he said quietly. Her blood iced. "Jonas Reed?" "Aye." She tightened her grip on the pistol. "How did you find me?" "Samuel told me where you'd be," he answered. "He had faith you'd open his letter before year's end." "You knew him?" A flicker of pain crossed his gaze. "Well enough." Her voice shook. What truth did he fear? Jonas removed his hat. Respectful gesture. "Not here," he said. "Not by a dying fire." He stepped inside, closing the cold behind him. "Fetch your coat?" "Martha," he murmured. "You assume I'll go anywhere with you." Jonas' eyes softened, regret hiding deep. "You will," he said, "because you loved him, and because the truth he left concerns someone you bury in your prayers." She stiffened. "Who?" Jonas looked toward the hearth. "A child," he said quietly. Martha's heart seized. "My child died." Jonas' gaze did not waver. "Samuel lied." Her world cracked. The pistol fell from shaking fingers. The flames hissed low. "No, he whispered. "That child did not die, not when you thought." Martha backed toward the table, palm bracing against wood. "Leave my house," she rasped. Jonas didn't move. "You deserve to know," he said. "The dead must stay dead," she whispered. Jonas' voice held sorrow. "Yours didn't." Her knees buckled. The hearth flickered. Samuel's voice echoed in memory. "Forgive me if you can." Martha looked at Jonas, at the stranger holding her husband's truth, and the storm waiting beyond the door. Her heart knew what her body refused. The life she thought she buried was not finished. Jonas reached for the discarded pistol, turned it, offered the butt back to her. "You'll want this," he said gently. "Truth is never safe." Outside, wolves howled, as if the earth warned her back. But Samuel's letter whispered forward. Jonas stepped aside, lantern lit. "Come," he said, "before dawn, before others get to him first." "Him?" Her voice cracked. "My child is," Jonas nodded. "A man grown," he said, "but lost." Snow swirled at the threshold. The lamp sputtered. Martha's grief, once still, surged into terror and hope. Her husband's last words changed her life, but she was not ready for how. Jonas whispered the final blow. Samuel sent him away. And he's coming back, looking for answers. Silence swallowed her. The pistol slipped from her hand, and the child she mourned was on his way home. Martha's shawl barely shielded her from the cold as she stepped into the night. Jonas Reed, walking beside her with a lantern held high. Snow swirled around them, dancing under moonlight in thin ribbons like ghosts escaping the earth. Thistle, her mare, snorted sharply when she saw Jonas. Animals knew when a stranger carried trouble. Jonas secured the saddle straps while Martha cinched her gloves tighter. "Speak plain," she said through stiff lips. "How was my child alive?" Jonas glanced up at her, pale, eye glinting in lantern glow. "Samuel claimed the fever took him," Jonas answered. "But the truth was crueler. Raiders took him. Same night, Samuel rode for help that never came." Martha's stomach twisted. "No," she whispered. "I held him. I watched him fade." "You watched another boy fade," Jonas murmured. "Samuel switched them before dawn." Martha stumbled back, breath ragged. "He stole my grief," she choked. "He stole my goodbye." "He believed," Jonas said quietly, "that letting you mourn once was kinder than watching you lose him again." Her voice broke. "He took that choice from me." Jonas steadied Thistle's reins. "Samuel was frightened. That loving you meant losing you when truth came." Martha climbed onto the saddle with aching limbs. Jonas mounted his own horse, a slate-gray gelding whose ribs showed through winter coat. They rode toward the valley trail. Moonlight painted pale lines across snow, while the wind carried the scent of cedar and forgotten days. Martha's mind churned. "My son lived without me," she said. "Where is he now?" Jonas urged his horse ahead, clearing deep drifts. "He walks between camps," Jonas said. "Half hunter, half outlaw, raised by men who owed Samuel no favor." Martha's pulse hammered. "Does he know who he is?" Jonas shook his head. "He knows only the story told to him, that his mother died, and his father was a coward who fled." Martha's hands trembled on the reins. Snow thickened, turning the world into white blur. "Why come for me?" she asked Jonas. "Why now, after so many years?" Jonas slowed his horse, letting Martha catch up. "Because your son is coming home," Jonas said. "Looking for Samuel. Looking for answers and maybe revenge." "Revenge?" Martha breathed. "Against whom?" Jonas did not answer, because the answer was too close to speak. They rode through whispering timber, past the old fence line where Samuel once leaned, smoking pipe as he watched the land he could never tame. Martha remembered that stance, calm from the outside, storm inside. She gripped her coat tighter. "He lied to me," she murmured. "All those years. And when he died with the truth." Jonas nodded once. "He asked me to carry what he could not. To bring you to the boy." "Why you?" Martha demanded. Jonas' jaw tightened. "Samuel saved my life once," he said, "and ruined another in the same breath. Debt binds deeper than blood." They crossed the creek where ice groaned beneath hooves. Jonas led carefully, offering his arm when Thistle hesitated. Martha followed his lantern glow, the only light in shifting dark. "How close is my son?" she whispered. Jonas looked back at her. "He's already in the valley," Jonas said. "Maybe riding tonight. Maybe watching us now." Martha's heart raced. "Why not let me wait in my home? Prepare." Jonas shook his head. "He won't go anywhere near the cabin. Too many lies were built there." Martha swallowed bitterness. Samuel built lies in every room. Jonas softened. "And love. More than you know." Martha looked at him sharply. "Do not excuse him." Jonas met her gaze gently. "I did not excuse him. But men are rarely one thing, Martha. They die with sins and goodness knotted together." Wind tugged her shawl. Thistle stepped unevenly, sensing shifting land beneath. Ahead, the world narrowed. A gorge cut through rock, a trail slick with ice. "Martha," Jonas said quietly, "do you remember the western canyon Samuel claimed was cursed?" "I told him curses come from hearts, not earth," Martha muttered. Jonas nodded toward it. "He hid something there." She stiffened. "What?" Jonas slowed, lantern casting golden flare across stone. "Your son's name," he said. "The one Samuel meant for him." Martha's breath caught. "He named him." Jonas nodded. "He never spoke it aloud, never dared. But he carved it." The gorge's entrance loomed. Sheer black rock, snow crusting its edges. "Why bring me now?" Martha asked. Jonas' voice lowered. "Because I heard something in town, that the boy rides here, searching for Samuel's grave. If he finds the canyon first, he finds the name before you do." Martha stared at the dark gap. "And if he sees it," she whispered, "he'll learn what Samuel hid. And he'll hate me." Jonas turned in his saddle. "Truth does not always come to heal. Sometimes it comes to tear away what shouldn't stay." Martha's hand shook. "Then what am I to do?" Jonas reached out, gloved fingers brushing hers. "You go first." She stared into the gorge, black, silent, like a throat swallowing moonlight. "Samuel led me through this place once," she murmured. "He said it was where men came to learn what they feared." Jonas urged his horse forward. "Then you'll learn now." They entered the canyon, walls closing tight. Echoes of hoofbeats reverberated. Snow drifted down like ash. Halfway in, Jonas dismounted, tying his horse to frozen brush. Martha followed, boots sinking deep. He approached the rock face, brushing snow aside with his glove. Here, faint scratches appeared, faded but deliberate. Martha leaned close, breath trembling. "Elias Hale," her knees weakened. "My son," Jonas nodded. Samuel named him after the prophet who spoke truth men feared to hear. Warm tears fell, freezing as they touched her skin. Jonas pointed to additional markings. Samuel returned here often, carving each time he thought he found him. But he never reached him. Martha traced the letters with shaking fingers. How did Samuel live with this? Jonas exhaled. He didn't. Thunder of hooves echoed. Not theirs. Jonas turned sharply. "Someone comes." Martha's heart seized. "Is it him?" Jonas didn't answer, but drew his revolver. Hooves drew nearer, fast, purposeful, rider unseen in shadowed entrance. Martha stepped back, staring at the carved name, feeling the truth of her life reopen wounds long scarred. The rider emerged, tall, dark coat, rifle across his back, his hoarse breath steaming. He reined in, eyes burning through shadow. Martha froze. He looked like Samuel, in stance, in brood, in the way he studied the world, as if it had wronged him first. Jonas lowered his weapon. "Elias," he called softly. The man's gaze flicked to Martha. Unreadable. "Who is she?" Elias asked. Jonas stepped aside. "That is the question Samuel never answered." Elias dismounted, boots crunching stone. "Then answer for him." Jonas swallowed. "Martha Hale," he said. "Samuel's wife." Elias' face hardened, a dangerous stillness forming. "And why should I care?" Martha stepped forward, voice quivering. "Because I am more than his wife." Elias' eyes narrowed. "And what is that?" Martha's voice cracked, but she spoke it into the canyon air that once held his name. "I am a mother he stole from you." Silence slammed shut. Then Elias' jaw clenched, body rigid, hands sliding to the knife at his belt. Jonas whispered urgently, "Martha, stay back." But she didn't, because the truth Samuel left had to be spoken, even if it cost her her life. Elias' voice was a blade. "If what you say is true, I have waited my whole life to hear it." His hand tightened on his weapon. "But I have not decided yet whether I came for answers." He stepped forward, toward her, "or for blood." Lantern flame flickered off canyon walls, casting Elias in shifting light, a silhouette shaped by storm and hunger. His gaze never left Martha, though his hand remained poised on the knife at his belt. Martha steadied herself, though her legs wanted to buckle. "Your name," she whispered, "is carved on this rock." Elias stepped toward the carving, fingers brushing the letters as though testing their reality. "My name," he murmured, "was given by men who never spoke of God." Martha swallowed hard. "Samuel named you," she said softly, "after a truth teller." Elias scoffed, low, bitter. "Samuel named me a ghost. What use is a name from lips that abandoned me?" Jonas shifted beside her. "Martha doesn't lie," Jonas said. "Samuel gave this place meaning because he could not face her with the truth." Elias turned, gaze sharp as flint. "You speak for a dead man." Jonas met his stare. "I speak for the living he wronged." Elias' attention snapped back to Martha. "Say it again," he growled. "Say you are my mother." The canyon wind sucked the warmth from her breath. "Yes," she whispered. "I am." Elias' jaw worked, as though the words tasted poison. "Then where were you," he hissed, "when I bled in snow? When hunger gnawed my ribs? When men beat me for refusing theft? Where were your arms then?" Martha flinched. "I believed you dead," she choked. Samuel, Elias snarled, "fed me that lie every night I spent beyond this valley." Jonas stepped between them, palm raised. "He is wounded," Jonas cautioned. "Speak gently." Elias shoved past him. "I have no use for gentle." Martha's voice broke. "You did not grow where I prayed. You live in a world I was told did not hold you." "Convenient," Elias spat. "For him. For you." Martha's tears froze against her cheek. "I grieved you," she whispered. Elias leaned in close, eyes blazing. "You did not grieve me. You grieve a name, a memory, a figment Samuel told you to bury." Martha staggered back. He was right, cruelly, painfully right. She had mourned an idea, not the man standing before her. "What Samuel told me," she whispered, "killed my hope. And what Samuel told me," Elias said, "killed my trust." His voice cracked then, barely noticeable, but Martha heard it. "Who taught you to hate me?" she whispered. Elias' hands clenched. "Men who believed your life was worth more than mine." Jonas inhaled sharply. Martha reached for Elias, frozen fingers wanting to grasp something real. "They lied," she said. "I would have crossed the world to hold you. Yet you never came," Elias answered coldly. Jonas stepped forward. "Martha, tell him." She swallowed. "I did not know," she whispered. "I buried the wrong child." Elias blinked, shock flickering through anger. "You saw a child die." "Yes," she whispered, "but not mine." The canyon walls trapped the echo. Elias stared, torn between disbelief and unwanted hope. Samuel switched you, she confessed, to save another, to save a child he thought would die. Elias stilled. Color drained from his face. Switch me, he whispered. For whom? Jonas' gaze turned heavy. The man you once called friend, Jonas murmured. The one whose death you avenged without knowing why. Elias stepped back, as though the canyon floor moved. No, Jonas nodded. Samuel traded lives. Elias' expression shattered. Fury, betrayal, grief twisting together. Martha reached again, hand trembling. I never chose that, she whispered. If I had known, I would have torn him from Samuel's arms and taken you home. Elias swallowed, breath shaking. Why did Samuel send you now, he asked. He died, Martha whispered, and left me his truth. Elias glanced at Jonas. I know Samuel sent you, he accused. But you brought her. Jonas said softly, because Samuel died before he could face what he'd done, and made me finish what he began. Elias looked back at Martha, eyes fierce, wounded. What do you want from me? Nothing, she whispered, except a chance. A chance for what? He spat. To know you. Elias barked a humorless laugh. You know nothing of who I am. Martha nodded painfully. Then teach me. Elias stared, stunned by the absence of expectation. Teach me, she repeated, voice cracking. Let me learn the man you became. Elias' breath came sharp and uneven. No, he rasped. I cannot. Because you hate me? Martha asked. Because, Elias whispered, voice breaking under the first tremor of pain she'd heard. If you learn me, you might love me. Martha's hand rose, not to touch, but to steady herself. And if I do, she whispered. Elias clenched his jaw. Then all the years without you will hurt more than they already do. The canyon went silent. A crow called from the cliff, mournful, alone. Jonas' voice broke softly. There is something more. Elias glared. What? Jonas motioned deeper into the canyon. Samuel did not just carve your name. He carved where to find what he left you. Elias froze. Martha, Jonas said gently, show him the letter. Her hand trembled as she took Samuel's last paper from her shawl. Elias stared, as though confronting a ghost. Martha held it out. Read him, she whispered. And read me. Elias hesitated, then took it carefully, as though it might burn. He unfolded it, eyes scanning. Martha watched his mouth tighten, then soften, then tremble. He reached the end, and for the first time, tears fell freely. Samuel's words had told him what Martha could not, that Samuel feared him because he loved him. Elias' voice shattered. He said, I look like you. Martha covered her mouth, sobbing silently. He said, Elias gasped. He was wrong to take your arms from me. Jonas reached out in quiet support. Elias shoved him away. No, Elias choked. Not you. Not now. He faced Martha, raw, exposed. I don't know how to be forgiven. Martha stepped toward him. You don't need forgiveness, she whispered. You need belonging. Elias backed up, shaking. And if I cannot give you what you lost. Martha's tears fell faster. Then let me give you what you lost. Elias' breath faltered. What did I lose? He whispered. A mother, she breathed. Her voice barely reached him. One who still wants you. Elias' eyes squeezed shut. Martha, Jonas warned suddenly. Footsteps, not echoes. Another rider entering the canyon. Elias spun, rifle drawn. Jonas cursed. Martha turned, heart pounding. A tall man on horseback approached leisurely, lantern swinging, not rushed, not afraid. Elias raised his weapon. Who are you? The rider stopped, dismounted slowly, voice smooth like ice. The man Samuel blamed for everything, he said, and the one who once owned you. Martha's blood froze. Jonas stepped forward, fury darkening his jaw. Rider, Jonas growled. Elias lowered his rifle half an inch, rage and recognition in his eyes. You. Rider smiled thinly. I, the raider who took you. The one Samuel begged mercy of. He looked at Martha, gaze cold. And the one who knows truths neither Jonas nor Samuel dared speak. Martha stepped back. What truth? Rider smiled. Elias was not stolen. He looked at Elias, eyes gleaming. He was given. Elias staggered. No, he growled. Samuel, Ryder interrupted. Samuel offered him, in exchange for peace, land, and his own life. Martha's scream ripped through the canyon. You lie. Ryder spread his arms. Ask Elias. He smirked. He remembers me. Elias' face drained, shame and buried memory rising. I do, he whispered. Martha froze, betrayed again. I remember him. Ryder stepped closer, and I remember Samuel kneeling for him. Elias clenched his fists, torn between rage and truth. Martha's heart cracked all over again. Samuel hadn't just failed her. He traded their son. Elias looked at her, broken beyond fury. It seems, he whispered, voice shaking. My life was not taken, he stared at Jonas, but sold. Martha's world went dark. Snow fell hard, and Ryder smiled, knowing the next truth would break them all. Snow hissed quietly as it fell, muffling the canyon's edges, but nothing could soften Ryder's voice. Samuel Hale did not lose his son, he said, turning a cruel smile toward Martha. He bargained with him. Elias stood motionless, except for a twitch in his jaw, a tremble in his hand, the first sign that pain outweighed rage. Jonas stepped forward like a drawn blade. Watch your tongue, Ryder. Or what? Ryder sneered. You'll shoot me before she hears the truth? You've played nursemaid to Samuel's conscience too long. Martha's voice shook like failing flame. You took my child. Ryder's gaze slid to her. No, Martha Hale. Samuel Hale delivered him. Martha backed up. One step, then two. Palm pressed to the carved rock where her son's name rested. He would never, she whispered. He would never trade flesh for land. Ryder chuckled low. You believe Samuel was a good man because he never let you see his sins. Jonas snapped, enough. But Ryder continued, savoring every word. He came to my camp begging for freedom from raiders, sickness, starvation. He wanted safe passage for his cattle and a life without kneeling to men stronger than him. He betrayed you too. Elias looked over his shoulder, helpless anger simmering. What more could he have taken? Ryder's voice lowered, almost coaxing. He hid someone from you, someone you begged him for. Martha froze. Elias stiffened. What? He whispered. Ryder pointed at Martha, expression unreadable. Her. Elias' breath faltered. He kept her from me, Ryder said. He feared she would see herself in you and take you back. So he let you believe she died, and let her believe you did. The canyon swallowed sound. Martha's hand hit the rock behind her. Her knees buckled. Elias' features contorted, a child's hurt twisting through a man's face. He stole her, he whispered. Martha sobbed. He stole us both. Ryder smiled, but not kindly. And now you each must ask. He leaned closer, voice chilling. Is love still possible without truth? Jonas finally lunged, gun rising. Enough. Ryder didn't flinch. You cannot stop truth with bullets. Jonas snarled. I can stop the man poisoning it. Elias raised a hand. No, Jonas stopped mid-stride. Ryder's brows lifted, pleased. Elias walked toward Martha, slow, limping, torn. She braced, afraid he would turn away again. But he stopped before her. His eyes shimmered. You did not choose this, he whispered. No, Martha breathed. He swallowed hard, jaw trembling. Then help me choose something else. She dared reach, fingertips brushing his coat sleeve. Elias did not recoil. Ryder laughed under his breath. How quaint. A wounded mother and her feral son. Jonas swung his weapon toward him. Ryder, leave. Ryder adjusted his gloves. No, he addressed Elias. You want truth? Then hear the rest. Elias' eyes darkened, trapped by need and dread. What rest? Ryder leaned in, voice slow, heavy. Samuel arranged more than a trade. He arranged your future. A hush fell. Even the wind held still. What future? Elias whispered. Ryder smiled thinly. You are heir to land he lied about owning, and men wait to claim it when Martha signs away what she doesn't know she holds. Martha stared. What land? Ryder looked at her, pity flickering. The valley, everything Samuel worked, is not yours by right. It belongs to Elias. Martha staggered, the world tilting under her. Samuel had left her grief and stolen the ground beneath her feet. Elias turned, expression unreadable. "You brought me here," he told Ryder, "to finish what Samuel started." Ryder shook his head. No, he looked at Martha. "I brought her here to see what Samuel's last message truly meant." Elias drew back. "What message?" Ryder motioned toward Martha. The letter did not confess. It commanded. Martha clutched her shawl. "What command?" Ryder's gaze hardened. "To choose," he said, "between love and survival." Silence hit like a storm. Martha shook violently. "What choice?" Ryder's voice was a whisper. "You can keep the land, or you can claim your son." It took a second, then Martha gasped. "No," Elias stared, horror rising. "She cannot lose me again." Ryder shrugged. Samuel thought she would choose the valley. Elias turned to Martha, breath shuddering. "Would you?" Martha's heart broke open. Every winter, every grave, every stolen truth flooding her. "I already lost everything once," she whispered. Samuel thought I would cling to what he built. She stepped closer to Elias, hand on his arm. But he never knew the woman he married. Elias searched her eyes, something yielding, something afraid. Ryder smirked. "A mother's words are easy in snow. Let's see if she proves them when dawn comes." "What happens at dawn?" Jonas barked. Ryder looked to the canyon mouth. When the men Samuel bargained with arrived to take what they were promised. Martha paled. "Who?" Ryder's voice was cold. "The ones who raised Elias." Elias went rigid. "They're coming for him," Ryder said. "Or for you." Martha's heart slammed in her ribs. "And if I refuse?" Ryder smiled. "Then everyone dies." Snow thickened, swallowing horizon, and behind them, hoofbeats echoed far down the canyon. Martha reached for Elias, fear finally louder than grief. "Stay with me," she whispered. Elias gripped her hand. Grief and fury braided fierce. "I do not run anymore." Jonas raised his revolver. Ryder melted into shadow. The canyon trembled because the men Elias once called kin were coming. Snow thickened until the canyon mouth was a pale blur. But the sound of hooves was unmistakable, steady as thunder under earth. Jonas moved Martha behind him, pistol raised toward the narrowing entrance. "They'll come in 2 columns," he muttered. Ryder trained them that way. Elias drew his rifle, breath steadying. "They won't take me," he said. "Not alive." Martha seized his coat sleeve. "No," she whispered. "We don't fight for death. Not tonight." Elias' gaze wavered, torn between resolve and the fragile ache of being seen. Jonas glanced back at them both. "We stand here. We tell truth while steel still talks." Ryder's voice drifted from shadow, detached, almost amused. "You cannot outshoot them, but perhaps you can outlove them." Jonas spat. "Truth isn't armor," Ryder replied. "No, but sometimes it is the only weapon." The riders emerged, 6 of them, harsh faces wrapped in fur and sinew. The leader dismounted first, towering, scarred, teeth bared in grim greeting. "Elias," he called. "Time to come home." Elias' voice was quiet but sharp. "This canyon is as close to home as I have." The man laughed. "You speak bold now. Come, we take you back. We settle Samuel's debt." Snow pushed sideways with the wind, cold scraping their skin. Martha stepped forward, shawl trembling around her shoulders. "You do not speak for Samuel," she said, voice carrying across the rock like prayer. The men stiffened, startled by the woman they had not seen. "Who are you?" the leader demanded. Martha did not shrink. "The wife he betrayed," she answered, "and the mother Samuel hid." A murmur rippled among the riders. Jonas hissed under his breath, "Bold, Martha," but she held firm. "You raised a boy through violence and hunger, but he was never yours to keep." The leader smirked. "Samuel gave him freely, for his own life and land. And so he belongs to us more than to you." Elias' voice broke. "I was not a bargain." The man turned, amused. "You were exactly a bargain." Elias lifted his rifle. Jonas caught his arm. "No," Jonas murmured. "Not yet." Martha stepped between Elias and the men. "Samuel may have given you his body," she said, voice trembling, "but I give him blood." The leader laughed, cruel and hollow. Blood. He gestured at Elias. This man is not yours. You mourn another child, and Samuel let you. Martha didn't retreat. Samuel was a coward, she said. But I am not. Wind howled through the canyon, rattling brush and loose stone. Ryder leaned against rock, watching with cold interest. Truth, Ryder murmured, is sharper than any knife. The leader dismounted fully, stomping toward Martha. You will lose this land, he said, and you will lose him. Martha held her ground, bare hands shaking. You cannot take what was never yours. He stopped inches from her, towering, unafraid. Samuel did not only trade the boy, he hissed. He traded the valley, signed it, marked it with his blood. Jonas stiffened. That document never surfaced. Because, the leader growled, I hold it. He reached inside his coat, pulling a folded skin-bound paper stamped with Samuel's seal. He held it between two fingers. Land for the boy, a life for a life. Elias trembled, eyes burning. You kept that for me. The leader shrugged. Truth keeps men loyal. Elias raised his rifle, voice shaking. You raised me for your war, not for life. The leader smiled thinly. A son fit for the frontier. Elias' voice cracked. I would rather have been weak and loved. Martha reached out, touching Elias's arm gently. He shut his eyes, moment breaking him. The leader scoffed. You believe this woman gives you anything? You are nothing to her. Martha stepped past Elias, face fierce through tears. You know nothing of mothers, she whispered. The leader sneered. You think a whisper changes a man's past? Martha's gaze burned. No, she said, but mercy might change his future. The canyon went silent. Elias stared at her, as though unsure if he was dreaming or drowning. The leader laughed. Mercy. He crumpled Samuel's signed deed. Mercy died when Samuel rode to me. Jonas tensed. Careful. But before he finished, the leader threw the deed into the fire pit drift of burning pine Ryder had lit moments earlier. Paper caught flame, curling, blackening. Elias lunged, but too late. The land Samuel bargained over, the proof of his betrayal, burned to ashes. The leader turned. Now there is no record. The valley is ours. The boy is ours. Elias stared at the burning scraps, devastation turning to wrath. You destroyed the only thing Samuel gave me. The leader grinned. That was the point. Elias lifted his rifle, but Jonas grabbed him again. Kill him, and they kill us all, Jonas warned. Martha stepped forward, voice cutting the storm. You want her claim? She said. The leader turned, smug. You have nothing to give. I have something Samuel did not, she whispered. Something men like you cannot understand. The leader scoffed. What? Choice. Her voice rang. I choose my son. Not land. Not Samuel's ghosts. Not fear. Snow swirled. The canyon wind shifting like breath released. You want to fight, she said softly. But I offer peace. The leader frowned, thrown. Speak. Martha breathed. You raised him. I birthed him. Neither cancels the other. She stepped to Elias and took his hand, a mother claiming what was lost. He is not your possession, she said, and he is not my grief. She looked at Elias, eyes soft with certainty instead of fear. He is a man, and he will choose where he stands. Elias stared, stunned. The leader scoffed. Choice is weakness. Martha's voice was steel. Choice is strength you never learned. Elias squeezed her hand, slightly, unsure, but choosing to hold. Jonas nodded, silent approval. Ryder watched, unreadable. The canyon wind died, as if the land waited. Elias stepped forward, voice low, trembling but sure. I choose her. The leader's eyes widened. You stand against us then. I stand with truth, Elias replied. Truth? The leader spat. Truth makes widows. Elias met his stare. Then so be it. Jonas raised his revolver. Martha drew Samuel's pistol, hand steady now with purpose. Ryder smirked as tension snapped taut. The leader raised his hand. All right then. He signaled, two riders dismounted, rifles cocked. Take her, he snarled. Make him choose again. Elias shouted, no. Shots cracked. Martha ducked. Jonas fired back. Smoke exploded. Hooves screamed. Chaos erupted. But amid it, Martha heard one cry rise above everything. Mother! Elias! Shouting for the woman he'd never had. Martha turned, only to see a rider reach for her, rough hands grabbing her arm to drag her. Jonas too far. Elias charging, snow and gunfire blurring. Martha! Jonas shouted, and as she was pulled from the ground, bloody snow beneath her boots, Elias leapt, knife drawn, and the canyon swallowed them both. Martha felt her boot leave the earth as the raider jerked her upward. The world spiraled, snow, stone, blood, lantern light. She clawed for purchase, but his grip bruised her wrist. Then, a blur, Elias slammed into the man, his knife flashing. The raider screamed, staggered. Elias pulled Martha down and shielded her with his body. Gunfire tore the air. Jonas shot twice, dropping another attacker. Ryder simply watched, arms crossed, like a man waiting for judgment, not fighting its arrival. The remaining riders hesitated, half stepping back, half tempted forward. The leader roared, hold. His men froze. Elias stood, blood at his temple, breath harsh. Let her go. The leader sneered. She is your weakness. Jonas leveled his pistol. No, she is his choice. A long silence, broken only by snow hitting stone and the thin, sharp crack of cooling metal. Then the leader looked Martha over, thoughtful, deadly. You want peace? Martha met his gaze, not begging, not trembling. I want my son. The leader lifted a brow. And what does he want? They all looked to Elias. He stared at Martha, then at the men who once shaped him, then at the rock where his name was carved. His voice emerged rough, uneven, but finally honest. I want a life not bound by Samuel's fear, he said, and not owned by yours. His eyes moved to Martha again. I don't know how to be a son, he whispered, but I want to learn. Martha's heart cracked and bloomed. Then learn, she whispered. Learn with me. The leader studied Elias and saw what he feared, not weakness, but loyalty redirected. He spat in the snow. Then you're dead to us. Ryder stepped off the rock. No, Ryder said quietly. You owe Samuel nothing now. The paper burned. You have no claim. The leader turned, fury flaring. You betrayed me. Ryder smirked coldly. No, I outlived my usefulness. The leader drew his pistol, but Jonas fired first. The leader fell. The remaining riders scattered, retreating through snow, the canyon swallowing hooves like thunder fading. Silence crashed down, exhausted, shaking. Martha sank onto the cold stone, Elias beside her. Jonas exhaled, long, weary. Ryder watched them, face blank. It seems choice won, Ryder muttered. Jonas aimed his pistol at him. You played both sides. Ryder shrugged. I ensured someone survived. That was my usefulness. He turned to Martha. You gave him the one thing Samuel never did. Martha braced, unsure whether to accept or reject the words. Love, Ryder said simply. Then he stepped back, deeper into shadow. Keep him alive, Martha hailed. You will find it harder than keeping land. He vanished like smoke, leaving them with wind and falling snow. The ride back to Martha's cabin was long, silent, the kind where horse hooves spoke louder than mouths. Jonas rode ahead, scouting for raider return. Elias rode beside Martha, unsure, awkward, a stranger where her features. When they reached her gate, Elias dismounted but did not approach the door. You don't have to stay, Martha said softly. Elias looked at her, pained. I don't know how. She stepped closer. You think I do? A faint, broken laugh escaped him. I thought mothers knew everything. No, she murmured, touching his arm gently. We fear everything. They stood in the cold, unsure, but breathing the same air for the first time. Jonas cleared his throat. I'll check the ridge, he said. Make sure no one circles back. He rode toward the line of dark pines. Martha opened her cabin door. Firelight spilled like memory, warm, fragrant of pine pitch and bread. Elias hesitated at the threshold. This place, he whispered. I dreamed of a place like this. Martha held out her hand. Then come inside. He stepped through, and his shoulders loosened slightly. A man crossing from exile into possibility. She poured hot broth, hands still trembling. Set it before him. Elias stared at it, as if unsure food could be simple given his. He drank slowly, silent. Martha sat across, palms clasped. Samuel did wrong, she murmured. But he loved you in fear. Elias' jaw tightened. Love should not cage. No, she whispered. But sometimes fear disguises itself as love. Samuel feared losing me, so he lost you instead. Elias looked into the fire. I learned to survive, he said, but not to be wanted. Martha's voice softened. Let being wanted be new. His eyes flicked to her, confused but raw. And if I cannot give what you hope for, then we give what we can, she answered. That is all any mother and child ever do. He looked away, too full. Late in the night, Elias stood. I need air. Martha followed to the doorway. Snow drifted, but softly now, as if the storm tired. He stared at the ridge. The land he tried to steal from me, it was never the land you needed, Martha whispered. No, Elias said quietly. It was belonging. She reached for his hand, tentative. Slowly, painfully, he let her hold it. Then his voice broke. Do you forgive him? Martha closed her eyes. I forgive what I must, she whispered. And I carry what I cannot. And me? Elias asked. She cupped his cheek, thumb brushing stubble. You I do not need to forgive, she said. You were the wounded, not the wound. Elias swallowed, breath shaking. What am I now? Martha smiled through tears. Home, she whispered. His eyes flooded, and he stepped into her arms. A son, not by upbringing, but by birthright of pain and yearning. He held her, and she held him, both at the edge of breaking. And for the first time since Samuel died, Martha's grief eased. Jonas returned hours later. All quiet, he said. Snow will wash tracks. He looked at Elias, then at Martha. You two will need time. We have it, Martha answered. Jonas nodded, touched his hat, and left. Elias stood by the fire, watching embers. Martha sat beside him. Samuel's letter said his last message would change everything, she murmured. It did, Elias said. She turned to him. Ow! He looked at her, eyes clear now, full of painful hope. It gave me someone to come home to. Martha reached for his hand, and for the first time in a lifetime, he did not pull away. They sat until dawn, mother and son, leaning into a future neither knew how to build, but both willing to try. Outside, the prairie lay soft under sunrise, and Samuel Hale's mistakes were slowly buried under snow and forgiveness. Inside, Martha whispered to the fire, Love does not finish with death. It begins where truth is told. And Elias listened, finally learning love not through bargain, but through belonging. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tales from the Old West, where every tale brings warmth, wisdom, and the beauty of a life well lived.